everybody! So today is National Red Nose Day. So I have my red nose and I actually still have my sickness. So it's partly my nose but also partly my sickness that I sound funny. But I wanted to put a video out today in support of the Red Nose project, which is to support childhood poverty and just encourage you to donate in any way that you can. I've donated, and there's lots of great organizations right around you and your community that need your support. One here in Utah, it's called the Road Homes, and they do an amazing job housing tons of people every year that are dealing with poverty and other problems. And so it's kind of a fun way to shout out to really important issues that all over the world that we're facing, and that we could do, even if it's just $5, $10, whatever it might be, to help out those in need. And so I thought it would be fun for this Red Nose video to talk about probably the world's most famous clown, and that's Krusty the Clown from the Simpsons. And we are going to talk about the 5 best Krusty the Clown episodes of the Simpsons. Okay, so number 5 on my list is The Last Temptation of Krusty. It was the 15th episode of season 9, and this is kind of a great episode because it has tons of amazing cameos, but it's also one that is solely focused on Krusty pretty much. Krusty is in a comedy festival with Jay Leno, and his act goes really bad, and he is just so depressed about it. And so he goes on this bender to end all benders. He ends up getting found by Bart and Ned Flanders, who end up kind of helping him, and he announces he's going to retire. He's giving up. He's had it. He can't take it anymore because he's not a real comic. He's not in touch with what's funny. And so Krusty ends up becoming sort of a stand-up comic, kind of like George Carlin. You could tell that that's what he was sort of inspired by. He becomes really critical, and he has a ponytail and kind of looks like George Carlin. And but the promoters of different products keep trying to get at him, keep trying to wear him down. And finally, there's this SUV called the Canyonero, and he finally gives in and decides to promote the the Canyonero. And there's this like whole big ad, and basically like he gets booed off the stage at Moe's Tavern because of him doing the promotion. And he finally decides, you know what, like this really isn't for me doing the stand-up comic. Like I'm better at having my show and being kind of a sellout, which I think is kind of a cool sort of unique, like they could have made it a lot more syrupy and a lot more simple, but he just realizes, nope, this is who I am, and I'm gonna do what I'm good at doing, even if it means other people think I'm a sellout. So there you go. Number 4 on my list is called Cant Crusty. This was the premiere episode for the 4th season. A lot of people think the 4th season is the best season ever in Simpsons. It's actually a really funny episode. The reason why I have it at number 4 is just because Krusty isn't in it that much. It's more a Lisa and Bart episode, where basically like Bart kind of convinces Homer to allow him to go to this Cant Crusty because he's always wanted to go, even though he didn't get the grades that he promised to get in order to go. He changed the grades, and it's really funny because he changes it from a C to an A, and Homer's like, yeah, you really should have changed it to something a little more believable here. And so, but Homer doesn't want him hanging around all summer, so he allows them to go to Cant Crusty. And it turns out it's this horrible place. It's awful. They don't have like any food, and they're forced to do like sweatshop work, and it's just this awful, awful place. And so they're like hoping that Krusty will come and rescue them and save them from this horrible place. And it becomes kind of like a Lord of the Flies type situation a little bit. And the animation is really good in this one, and it's exciting, it's funny, it's just a really all around, it has a great Lisa moments, which are some of my favorite. And you get sort of Krusty being sort of humbled a little bit, realizing what he's done to these kids. So that is why Cant Crusty is my number 4. Number 3 on my list of the best Krusty episodes of The Simpsons is Like Father, Like Clown. The 6th episode of the 3rd season features the reuniting of Krusty the Clown with his father, who is Hyman Krustovsky, who is a rabbi who is mortified that his son became a clown, and so they had like a falling out, and basically like Lisa decides to bring these two people together and help Krusty and his father. And it's just a really sweet little episode. I think that Dan Castellaneta does a great job with Krusty this episode, bringing some warmth into him, get to know him a little bit better. And also there are a lot of really funny like jabs at religion and jabs at school and jabs at all different things. And Jackie Mason is great as the rabbi. Okay, the number 2 best Krusty the Clown episode of The Simpsons is called Homie the Clown. And this is from the 15th episode of 6th season. And this is written by John Swartzwelder, who is a prolific Simpsons writer. I really like this episode because it gets to sort of the heart of the creation of Krusty, because Krusty really was originally going to be Homer in disguise, and so that's why the two characters look very, very similar. And this is the first episode where they ever really play that out, and you get great voice work from Dan Castellaneta as both Krusty and Homer. And basically Homer goes to clown school to learn how to be Krusty. Krusty's in debt because of all his gambling and other things, so he starts at this clown school, and it turns out that Homer's pretty good at being Krusty because he kind of is Krusty. And so it turns out that Homer is getting all of these gigs and everything, and Krusty doesn't really like that he's doing all this impersonating him, and so they kind of have conflict. And it's just really well written. It's really funny. It's really well, the animation's really great. The number one best Krusty the Clown episode of The Simpsons is Krusty Gets Busted. And this is the 12th episode of season 1. We're going all the way back to 1990. Isn't that crazy? The show's still on the air, and we're going back to 1990 when this aired. And this is one of my favorite Simpsons episodes, period. Basically, it's the start of Sideshow Bob. It's the first time we see Kelsey Grammer in there. This is the first time that we see Kent Brockman do the news, which is really hilarious. And we get Homer, who's complaining about having to see Patty and Selma's slides in their Mexican vacation, which is really funny. And somebody robs the Quickie Mart in a crust that looks like Krusty the Clown. And so Bart and Lisa are horrified to see Krusty getting arrested, and then their father is testifying against Krusty because in the trial he's asked, did you see this person? And he says yes. And so Bart and Lisa are forced to kind of look at the clues and figure out some way to vindicate Krusty. And so this, like I said, it starts the Sideshow Bob storylines that are still going, and so many other fun stories, and there's a lot of really good writing. It still makes me laugh. I just watched it today again, and I still think it's really funny, and I think it's the best Krusty episode. So those are my 5 best Krusty episodes. What are your 5 favorite? Put in the comments below, and I hope that you are inspired to participate in the Red Nose Project and to donate and give any way you can, whether it's used clothing or anything that you could do to help childhood poverty and help those that are in need during this summertime. And so thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.